So, Mr. Speaker, sir, for the coalition government, it's time for you to defend your record. The only problem is that there is very little record, if any at all, to defend. This must be the reason, Mr. Speaker, sir, why they just try and lay blame on FijiFirst to cover their doing very little or nothing at all. Mr. Speaker, sir, after listening to the other side for the past 2 days, it seems that the other side of the House interprets working together or working across the aisle as a ticket to not being criticized. Sadly, Mr. Speaker, sir, I have to remind them that it is not the case. In this, the People's House, they will be criticized. You will be asked tough questions by us on this side of the House and the sole government backbencher. And I hope, Mr. Speaker, sir, that they heard the very wise suggestions from their government backbencher to them yesterday. It's just too bad, Mr. Speaker, sir, that they wanted to make themselves all ministers and assistant ministers, and they miss out on the value of good government backbenchers. Mr. Speaker, sir, as you well know, the legislature has an oversight role on the executive. You're very well aware of this, sir. And that is why we will never shy away from our job of oversight. Mr. Speaker, sir, the situation on law and order in the country demands some urgent attention. There is a growing lack of confidence in our police force, both in their capacity to do their law enforcement work and on the integrity within the force. The recent arrests made that included serving police officers on the allegation of tampering with the recently seized hard drugs kept as exhibits is quite worrying. I fear, Mr. Speaker, sir, that there is a rot that is setting in the police force, and I sincerely hope that I am wrong. And if there is a rot, it needs to be fixed quickly. Because, Mr. Speaker, sir, to successfully smuggle high-value contraband like hard drugs into or through a country, a secret segment of the society is created. The drivers, the transporters, the lookouts, the sellers, the bankers. And when enforcement officers and officials become part of that secret segment of the society, the problem is almost impossible to crush, as he wanted to do when the drugs were discovered. The minister's recent comments in the media that drug networks operated with impunity under the previous administration is quite irresponsible, given the hard work carried out by the Fiji police force over the years to fight drugs. I called on the minister publicly, and I call on him again in this chamber to provide evidence to justify his claim. Let me remind the Honourable Minister and this House of some facts. In 2019, the Fiji Police Force established the first ever narcotic bureau to ramp up the fight against drugs, and specialist training was provided to police officers to deal with drug-related cases. Capabilities have also been enhanced over the years to assist the police to combat this drug problem. Anti-drug operations across Fiji over the years have resulted in the seizure of green and hard drugs worth millions of dollars, and the perpetrators have been convicted. According to media reports, in 2019, police uncovered a meth lab in a nightclub in Nandi. A small-scale meth lab were also discovered in 2013 and in 2015 in Suva. Way back in 2004, Mr. Speaker, sir, the police found chemicals big enough to produce 2,200 pounds of crystal meth in a factory outside Chu. So I'm not too sure where this doing nothing in the past is coming from. The fight against drug is and will continue to be an ongoing operation, and it will be a big chunk of the police force enforcement work. Other countries have taken a step further to set up border force to tackle contraband smuggling. The last thing that the police force needs is political interference, which is very evident right now. And I had called out the Minister for Home Affairs publicly on this issue for a few times. The Fiji police force and other enforcement agencies, they need to be resourced, not interfered with. Unfortunately for them, nothing significant was provided for them in the last budget. I hope that there will be an improvement in the next budget. Mr. Speaker, sir, I support the call by Honorable Rondrondo yesterday to the Honorable Prime Minister for Fiji to withdraw its position and its support to Israel's occupation of and actions in Gaza. This position harms Fiji's international reputation as a peacekeeping nation that is committed to lasting peace in the Middle East and elsewhere in the world. Mr. Speaker, sir, our international reputation as peacekeepers is built on RFMF's professionalism and experience. Our international reputation as a peacekeeping nation is equally premised on our ability to stay neutral in regions where Fijian peacekeepers are deployed. Mr. Speaker, sir, only by being neutral will we be seen as credible by the parties to the conflict. Some legal scholars describe our submission as overstepping international law. Perhaps the Attorney General, Honorable Turanga, can enlighten us tomorrow as to who drafted Fiji's submission. Mr. Speaker, sir, Fiji's explicit support to one party to the conflict has diminished and compromised our peacekeeping reputation and high standing, not only in the Middle East, but worldwide and especially in the global South. Mr. Speaker, sir, as highlighted by Honorable Rondrondo yesterday, Fiji's stand at the ICJ puts our peacekeepers in harm's way. Yes, there is always an inherent risk to the lives of peacekeepers when they deploy to peacekeeping missions, as is well known to the former peacekeepers who are in this chamber, but taking the side of one party makes you an enemy to the other. And I'm talking about the lives of fathers, of mothers, of wives, husbands, brothers and sisters, sons and daughters. Some in this chamber might even have some close relatives serving in the Middle East right now. My youngest son is currently serving in Iraq. Mr. Speaker, sir, let me turn to something that happened yesterday, and you may have been listening. Mr. Speaker, sir, I was disheartened yesterday when, after Honorable Ketan Lal asked his question to the three ministers yesterday, the answer came in a form that sort of said, "How dare you ask that question?" And it followed by a lecture on how he should behave and so on. Mr. Speaker, sir, those questions were mainly questions on transparency, and they required simple answers, perhaps just a yes or no. I'm pretty sure, Mr. Speaker, sir, that if they had asked the Honorable Prime Minister whether they should answer those questions, they would have got a very short and sharp, simple military-style answer of just saying, answer the questions in clear name. By the way, we did not cook up those questions on this side. It came from the people, obviously those that saw and witnessed. And when the people ask, they deserve an answer. Because transparency is the principle of democracy. Mr. Speaker, sir, what was even more sickening to me personally yesterday was when Honorable Tuinaceva used as an example the words that were spoken publicly in a government-organized public consultation on local government on the 25th of September 2023 to highlight the problem of racial hatred rearing its ugly head again. Honorable Biman Prasad accused him of inciting racial disharmony. And Madam Deputy Speaker wisely ruled against it yesterday.
Very bad.
Mr. Speaker, sir, myself and others in this House have seen the result of racial hatred when it manifests into physical violence. racial hatred is the biggest barrier to harmonious and peaceful coexistence in our multi-ethnic, multicultural, and multi-religious nation. Mr. Speaker, sir, I had warned about racism last year during my maiden speech in this chamber. And the incident that Honorable Tuinaceva was referring to happened just a few months later. Mr. Speaker, sir, Honorable Biman Prasad can choose to bury his head in the sand and pretend that nothing is happening when it comes to racial hatred and racism. That does not bother me at all. But the reason is that he's only one. There are 26 of us on this side who will fight racism and racial discrimination. We will call it out. We will warn people about it. Mr. Speaker, sir, FijiFirst stands for equal citizenry. And we will continue to fight for equality for all in this chamber and outside of this chamber.
Order.
No
banging of the tables. Please, honorable members.
Mr. Speaker, sir, the one question that all that voted for us, those that gave us the privilege to occupy the seats we currently occupy, the 42.55% of voters that gave us 26 seats, the 8.89% of voters that gave NFP 5 seats,
That's it.
the 35.82% of voters that gave PEP 21 seats, and the 5.14% of voters that gave SODELPA 3 seats. And even those that did not vote, they all asked the same question, a simple question. What are you doing to make lives better? And the answer, given the government's 1-year record, is very little to nothing. I am sure that the people are fed up with the rhetoric from the other side that FijiFirst did this, FijiFirst did not do that, and it just goes on and on. Because there is very little of the coalition government is doing this to better your life. Mr. Speaker, sir, I will end by echoing to this House again the voice of the people. They are asking, what are you doing to make lives better?